Just play the music. That's fine. Steve's done talking. Hey, it's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach coming to you live on the Civic Media Network here on this beautiful Thursday night in the state of Wisconsin. Aaron Zomer is filling in for the kid, Dom Lee. It's great to have you with us, and it's great to have Steve Glenn with us. He is the founder of Experience Milwaukee. Experience Milwaukee, yes. And he is a community and tech builder in Milwaukee, and we're discussing data centers and the tech scene here in Wisconsin. I mentioned your Substack, Steve. Get a plug for that in because you do great stuff there. And I want to ask you, where can people find that?
ExperienceMilwaukee.com. Thanks for the kind words. So I have conversations with tech leaders in and around the city and the state, but also outside of the state, and see what we can learn from what's happening in other communities.
You had a great article with, you talked to Tariq, I hope I'm saying that right, Tariq Moody.
Yeah.
And you guys were worried that some of the best community builders or tech people might leave Milwaukee because of the scene there.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that? And what would keep people there? What needs to be done to keep the best minds in Milwaukee or Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a few things to keep our builders, to keep, quite frankly, our talent. We're bleeding talent, not just to Minneapolis and Chicago and Detroit and Indiana, but to the coast, of course. And I've on the Substack, I was able to, again, I tell my story in the beginning because I'm a kid that comes from nothing. And here I've interviewed 5 of the 8 candidates for governor so far on their tech vision for the state. And really what it comes down to is a few key things. And one of the things these gubernatorial candidates shared was money, funding, resources to keep them here, right? If I don't feel like I have to go somewhere else to raise the money I need to keep my business growing, I'll stay here. And magnitudes higher than what we have today. Another thing really is just like love and respect, recognize, see that they're here, see what they're doing, engage, become their first customer. We don't do a good job as a community signing up for what the startups are building. And I think the biggest piece really is just alignment. I know we ended the last segment on that. We don't have a tech identity. I know we think we do. I know we think we're a hub. And Tariq said the same thing. Hey, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. We think we're a tech hub, but we're not yet.
I mean, I would be totally honest. I've lived in southeastern Wisconsin my whole life. If you asked me if we were a tech hub, I would probably be like, well, we have the Foxconn thing and the data center. I would never call it a tech hub. And I think part of that goes to the notion. I think this is kind of a Wisconsin problem too, is we don't see ourselves as the pinnacle of anywhere, really. We're Wisconsin. We love where we're from. We're proud of who we are. But again, people are born here, they're raised here, then they leave and do great things. And we think because they leave. Now, bringing them back or keeping them here is a whole other conversation.
Yes.
The money is fine. And that's great. I'm sure they want the money. But with what you do, Steve, and with individuals like Tariq, how do you begin those conversations with just the regular folks who aren't in tech to help them understand the importance of building either a tech scene or just making, whether it's southeastern Wisconsin or the whole state, bigger and more viable and more to the sense of like people in other states going, oh, I want to move there. Like, how do you start those conversations with folks who aren't as adept as you may be on the topic?
Yeah, and so I've started that. Great question, right? So one of the things I did last summer was I approached Common Council President Jose Perez, and who's also alderman of Walker's Point neighborhood in Milwaukee. Yeah. And I approached him and explained what was happening in that community around tech, and it was unique, very unique. And so for someone who doesn't have a tech background, he embraced this idea, and literally a few months later, the Common Council passed a resolution to create Milwaukee's first innovation district in Walker's Point. And really the urgency is when I talk to non-tech people, as I say, look to our west and you've got Madison, look to the north, you've got Titletown Tech, look to the south, you have Kenosha Innovation Neighborhood. We are being passed by. If you need one more example, what happened in Detroit with the automotive industry? And look how they have come back and passed us up. In 1970, I believe, in the 70s, I believe, Detroit was like the 4th largest city. Milwaukee was the 12th.
How about that?
And look at us today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we've never had the urgency to have to make the kinds of decisions a Detroit had to make. And so we've just kind of teetered along, and we sort of think we're okay, and we're a tier 2 or so. Sorry, cities are broken up by tiers, and we can get into that more if you want to. We think we're a tier 2 or tier 3. We're actually tier 4 and sometimes near the bottom most often.
Wow.
So how does that change, Steve? You said you talked to gubernatorial candidates. Does it have to start? You have to have some political help, right? Like, you can do all the innovating you can and bring in great people, but there has to be a climate fostered, right? And does that start with government?
I think it's one of the great places to start. And one of the 4 candidates I've published so far, only one. Today I actually published with Kelda Royce. She actually said, we need to change the culture in the state.
I mean, and that all begins with the conversation and the communication with the folks. And I don't mean to belittle them by saying regular. I just mean folks who don't know as much about this industry or and that's something those candidates are going to have to do. They're going to have to talk to the people and get them on board, give them buy-in, and that's also a difficult, I think, as well. So
here's a great text. Pardon me, Greg. Annie from Watertown says, "I'm so old. I remember when a community would welcome a new business that would add to the tax revenue of the community. Now the community has to lose out on revenue in exchange for the business to add a few jobs with no guarantee whatsoever, and they compete for the opportunity. Who can lose more?" That's a skeptical text there from Andy. Steve, this was fun. Thank you. I applaud you, and I keep up the great work, and I hope you're successful, and I hope you don't have to leave Milwaukee.
I don't plan to for right now, so thank you.
All right, excellent. You got it. All right, that's Steve Glenn. Follow him at his Substack, Experience Milwaukee. We are coming right back, folks. It's a Nightlight Movie Club night. We're going to read your texts after the news. We're going to talk about Airplane, a few laughs, maybe a few drinks. Nightlight with T. Schwaba and Greg Bach.